and live.
Well, there you go.
Come on. So I see a little spinny backwards. Boom. Hey, you're on Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy, and this is going to be a little bit different event than we normally do, but strap in, get your great knee-high, your peanut butter and jelly, or your tuna fish sandwich, or your fish tacos, and we'll have some fun in today's conversation. Hey, Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy is sponsored in part by the Elder Law Firm out of Greensboro, North Carolina. If you want to make sure that you serve that generation ahead of you is the way that you promised to serve them, maybe you need some information, some ideas, maybe you need some help from people who are focused on elder law and retirement planning and elder law planning. So reach out to the Elder Law Firm in Greensboro, North Carolina, and let them know that Randy and Teddy suggested that you say hi to them. So Randy, dude, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. It's middle of the week, and we've got a special show today. In case you hadn't noticed, we have a lot of folks here. So what's the occasion? The occasion is it's our second anniversary. Our show, Teddy, has lasted longer than most marriages do. You know it?
I do.
And I'll tell you, and Teddy, I'll tell you in part why that is. Because you know what? I've only seen you twice in 2 years.
And I only tolerate you for about an hour and a half a week.
That's it. So we got all that going for us. But hey, folks, thanks for watching, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. This is our second anniversary show, Lunch with Randy and Teddy. My name is Randy Wooden. I'm with Goodwill Industries here in Winston-Salem, Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina, and run our professional center. So I help folks, much like those that might be watching us now or maybe later on YouTube. If you're a professional and considering a job change, look me up. Our services are free. We're happy to help. And one of the highlights of the week for Teddy and for me is to get together and talk a little bit about, job hunting, business development tips, professional development. And in this case, this is almost kind of a flashback show. It's almost like this is your life kind of thing. We brought some guests in, and we'll introduce them briefly here to talk about some of the highlights of the shows that we've had, some things that they've enjoyed, maybe some ideas for change, and just some things, maybe nuggets that they took away that may have helped them in some way, possibly. So before we do that, Teddy, why don't I throw it to you for housekeeping and to introduce yourself?
Yeah, because Randy, dude, we got 15 people on here and we just got started, man. So I'm sure there's a few people on here I've never met. So for those I've never met or have never had the privilege in my mind to meet me, my business is all about teaching LinkedIn and Google Workplace as business tools. The newest division of Burriss Consulting is Google Workplace as a business tool. Love helping business professionals, sales teams, customer service, account management teams, and anybody who wants to figure out how to use LinkedIn and Google Workplace or even Gmail as a business tool. But my buddy Randy and I, this is our second anniversary of getting together, and we absolutely have a blast bringing really cool, smart, beautiful people. Randy, beautiful people as our special guests. And this week is our second anniversary, so we brought in 6 really cool people.
Yeah,
all of them friends that we've met along the way, and some of them are absolutely crazy because they freaking stalk us. They show up every week to see what we are up to, and I'm joking about that because I'm really am blessed to have people who show up every week to hear our ideas. But Randy, go ahead, take it on, buddy.
Hey, listen, if you're watching us, let us know where you're watching from, but also if you have comments or questions for whether it's Teddy or me or any of our panelists, fire away. Teddy's going to keep an eye on that, and where appropriate, try to work that in. So what we're going to do, we've got a handful of questions that our crack research staff has assembled, and what we're going to do is pose the question and then try to generate a response from each of our panelists. And I'll start with the first question, Teddy, then the second, and I'll take the third, and so forth. But for you that are on the panel, if you'd like to jump in, you have a thought, something somebody said spurred something on, just kind of go like that, and we'll recognize you when whoever it is that's talking has ended what they had to say. So first off, just a real brief introduction, if you would. I'm going to start with the upper left and work to the right, and then on the second row, just a real brief introduction. Who are you? Have you been a guest? Have you been an attendee? Have you been a co-host? Because I have missed a few weeks. I know a few of you have been co-hosts. So let's start with Don Masura. Don, tell us a little bit about you and how you came to know about the show.
Well, thank you very much, Teddy and Randy. And I think this is a special day because, it takes something to have longevity. And the fact that we've got folks that calling in on a regular basis, my hat's off to you. I'm the owner of the Threshold Performance Group. Initially, we were a traditional consulting company, but because of the fact that our niche was starting new ventures, since I've been in the Triad, I've had the pleasure of starting probably close to 10 new ventures for myself and other people. And the biggest thing for us right now is that we've generated a concept of being a family of brands. We're more than just consulting. We now have 3 separate areas. One is providing affordable legal services to people. That's a big deal right now, along with ID theft. The other one is a company called Pinnacle Plus, which is giving a new level of growth to senior executives. And the last one is in wellness, and healthcare. Maybe we got something new, wellness. Okay.
You heard it here first, though. Yeah. So Don, now you've been a guest, and I know we've had you on as a guest. I think you've also filled in as a co-host, right?
That's correct.
Good deal. Well, let's move across to Sindy Martin. Sindy.
Thank you, Randy and Teddy. Yeah. My name is Sindy Martin. I own Smartin International. I teach business professionalism, etiquette, and protocol. A lot of people don't know protocol. It's something that they try to pick up in the office by osmosis. I'm sure Greg's very familiar with that. I love the word hellness. I think that's where our world is right now. I have been a guest, I have been a co-host, and I have been an attendee. I'm one of those stalkers.
I got you. Yeah, Sindy, I've known both Sindy and Don for a number of years. Jeff, not as long. Jeff, you actually met me, 3-4 years ago. Jeff Livengood, who are you and what are you doing here anyway?
Hey, so yes, Jeff Livengood, we met just under 3 years ago, I think, when I was in a career transition myself, and so I was a client of your services at the time, so by the time your show here started, I had completed that transition, though I think in my mind at the time I still felt like, well, I don't know if this is the end landing space or not. So I hung around as one of those stalkers for a while, and enjoyed the shows, certainly. So professionally, I'm an IT manager, currently selling my services at the Clearinghouse and in Winston-Salem, and I've been there just over 2 years. On the side as well, do some volunteering things as well with coaching youth hockey.
Good deal. Absolutely. All right. Greg Jones, you are next.
Good afternoon, everyone listening and watching and all the ships at sea. Happy to be back here. I've had to think back. I remember sitting on the 20th floor of Burriss Enterprises, listening to Teddy pitch this idea of starting a weekly podcast and just listening to it grow and change and actually seeing it come in. I have been a special guest host on a number of occasions. I know I was in the running for some award somewhere, some Webby, I'm not sure. And I've also been an attendee as well. My background is I am a HR consultant with Atrium Health in Charlotte in the area of leadership and organizational development.
That's a lot to put on a business card, isn't it?
It is.
That's a long name. Chan, welcome.
Thank you, Randy.
Chan White, who are you? And again, what are you here for anyway? What's your...
I'll give you a little bit of my checkered background. I was a librarian for IBM, chip plant in Burlington, Vermont. I moved back down to North Carolina to be with my elder parents. And subsequently, I worked as a librarian at the Center for Creative Leadership until they downsized me at a point. After the 9/11 incident, they started losing money because people weren't willing to fly into Greensboro to get the training. They had to downsize. After that, I had a brief career as a paid staff member with the Red Cross here in Greensboro. And then basically was downsized from that job because of the economy at one point. And I at the end of that period, I discovered Triad Career Network and got assistance through them. And since Teddy was one of our gurus as a LinkedIn professor, etc., I got to know Teddy that way. And somehow or other, I've been involved back and forth, trying to help people one way or another. And I've definitely enjoyed watching this webinar evolve over the 2 years. Yeah.
Good deal. Did Teddy pay you to say all that? I don't know.
Yeah, but he dropped the line. He was supposed to say syndicated show, and he didn't use the phrase
Oh,
syndicated.
I'm
show.
sorry.
Last but certainly not least, Todd Porter. Todd, you're a whiz-bang recruiter for a long time. You know it very, very well, and I respect your comments you throw in there. I agree with them, and good stuff. So, Todd, tell us a little more about you and what you do there.
I appreciate being included in this group. I've been recruiting. I've had my company for 25 years. We celebrate 25 years next month, and I have a very strange niche. 80% of my customers are Israeli companies that are hiring in the US. And I've been up here in Winston-Salem about 12 years, followed my wife up here when her bank was acquired by BB&T. And I've known you two guys probably 5-6 years at least, maybe longer, between networking and SHRM and everything else. I've never been a panelist, but I think I have the honor of introducing you to probably the panelist that came there, where it's the furthest away, Jacob Sher with Job Mob in Israel. Gave you a little international flavor there. But I don't know. I started listening just over a year ago. I'm not even sure. I guess I probably just heard from somebody about one of you having this, and both of you, and started listening. And we have so little time to devote to things like this. Mm-hmm. You have to be good. You have to be entertaining. And I find Wednesday at noon just enjoyable to turn it off for an hour, to turn you guys on and pick up some stuff, because you're broad enough that you usually catch things that I can pertain to and pick up some valuable nuggets 60, 70, 80% of the time, which is great. And I enjoy you guys. I hate to say that, but you guys are entertaining,
Hey, I forget who it was. Somebody the other day said, and he says, I mean this in a good way. He says, you remind me of Click and Clack on NPR.
I'll take that syndication.
Yeah. I'll take a tenth of it. So all good. But the idea is it's informative, but we also can lighten up and have a little fun and laugh a little bit. So now that we've kind of introduced everybody, Teddy, you've introduced yourself, I hope, right? Did I forget you?
We got that, buddy.
Right, everything's covered. If you have questions, comments for these characters, let us know. Put it in the chat box. Teddy will keep an eye on that. So question, first of all, we've had 103 or 104 shows. So here's the quiz. Name 25 guests. No, I'm sorry. That wasn't, that was not in the script. But looking back, other than yourself, who were some of you think back some of the guests that maybe we had that, I don't know, that you liked or were maybe a little more memorable, or that kind of thing? Anything come to mind? Don, anything?
Very definitely.
And
I think that the quality of the guests, by the way, guys, has been great. I've always learned something new. And Todd, I echo what you're saying. two people. One was Nicole Kaufman. I don't care how many skills you have. If you haven't got your head on straight, you're in trouble. And I think that Nicole sets herself up separately as saying, hey, there are things that are very important that you need to work with on yourself to be able to be somebody to somebody else. You know, you got to have your own self together. And she does a beautiful job of taking, I used to call it psychobabble, out and just make it a very comfortable thing. And the fact that she specializes in women. And I think that's important because you see a lot of organizations. She did a great show. She was professional. She was engaging, and I learned a lot. And if you can have a show that does that, you got a good show. The second person was Melvin Scales. Melvin is a guy that I've had the privilege of knowing, and he is so incredibly professional when he gets in front of folks. He's an example we can all shoot for. And what I liked about his show in particular is that his subject was onboarding. And I've been so many times when I've worked, and Randy, you've worked with folks that they get to the finish line and they drop the ball. You know, they get hired and all of a sudden, you know, you got to run through the finish line. And that's the company as well as the new employee. And he did a great job of making it simple, making it understand that, hey, these are the steps you better cover, or you're going to take an onboard to an overboard. You know, and
yeah. And also Melvin was on in the first couple months or so. We had Clemson Turagano on with Melvin, and Chan, you may remember Clemson. He was at CCL, Center for Creative Leadership, Clemson Turagano, for a number of years. And they talked about executive presence, leadership, that kind of thing. So Melvin is a repeat guest, and I think he's also been a co-host, or he will be a co-host coming up.
He was.
Was he? Okay. All right. Well, let's move to Sindy. Sindy, other than yourself, any guest that comes to mind, maybe a couple that you thought, yeah, you know, it's a pretty cool person we had on here. Yeah.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Don said, but with a different person, and that is Lucy Wellmaker. Lucy Wellmaker, again, is ditto what Don was talking about, the other woman, but Lucy is so professional. Lucy is one of those people that can talk to people without the psychobabble in there, and really helps people understand who they are, where they want to go. If they want to transition, she asks the right questions. She's so good, and she's so positive. And I really like surrounding myself with people that have that positive energy. And I feel like that whole show was excellent. And there were so many questions. The shows that I loved the most were the ones where there was such engagement with the questions in the chat session.
Yeah, and she was on at the beginning of a year, I think, talking about you know, charting the course for the new year and thankfulness, and that was Teddy. You actually brought her on the show, if I remember right.
Follow her blog. She's got a really neat blog. I think it's called Wow Moments.
It is.
Yeah,
I think so.
her blogs. I too love the ideas and the perspective that Lucy brings to any conversation.
Let's move on. Unless Sindy had another one, we can move to Jeff. Jeff, any thoughts from the time that you have popped in here? A guest or two, you think?
Thank you. So yes, so a couple that stand out to me. I hope I get the name right here. Mark Owen, the Greater Winston-Salem leader. He that's just there. I'm passionate about Winston-Salem in general. You know, it's my hometown, and I like to see things you know, successful here. And so, you know, he brought an energy in his show, or in his time as a guest, where he was really energetic and passionate about, here's what's going on here, here's what's coming. There's certainly some things he couldn't tell us about, but certainly just the energy and passion that he brought there, you know, was, you know, as Sindy said, kind of built that positive energy there. Another is someone who he had helped me personally during my career transition as well, and that was Damian Merkel. And that was just one of those kind of personal touches there. Oh yeah, this is somebody I've got a connection with. I did meet him, and he did help me personally, and it was good to see him here as well.
Yeah, and for those keeping score at home, Mark Owens will be back on May 25th as our guest once again, May 25th. So next, about a month from now, or a little more than a month, he'll be back on it, and really same kind of topic, just only a year later. And what's new, what's happening, what's on the horizon that you can't talk about, we'll talk about it. But thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. And yeah, Damien, hats off to Damien. He does some great work, again, along with Chan and the folks over there, and Teddy and such. We're all in the same general line of work. I kind of guess I could call it that, kind of, sort of helping job hunters, that is. And so we're happy to help where we can. And Greg Jones, you have been a multi-returning co-host. So what do you think, looking back, some of the folks that have been on here? One or two come to mind?
Oh, Melissa Hughes immediately jumps to the front of my mind, so much that not only can I say go Zips, and she understands exactly what I'm talking about. Also in the area of psychology and brain research, working with people on a daily basis when you're looking at to see who's using their, I'll use her words, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and how you can help move between those, what's going on. I took notes. So I think it's just fantastic to have that in there to begin to build that awareness to go, where am I today? Mm-hmm. And how do I move myself back with the sympathetic instead of using the parasympathetic?
Yeah, a lot. And she's on twice.
Yes, she has.
And I'll tell you what, some of the most watched shows, and I'm just going by memory here. One was Melissa, her first time on. Another was Mark Owens, when he was on talking about Greater Winston. Those were two. And also when Melvin was first on, when he and Clemson were on talking about leadership, that was a highly watched show, if I remember right. I'm just going by memory. I didn't do my crack research staff took the week off, so I'm just going by memory. Chan White, you're up next. Thoughts on a guest or two maybe that stood out?
Yeah, the one that I sort of remember the best was Sarah Rosinski. She was the person that talked about if you need to be able to spell things correctly in your resume and formatting and that sort of thing. My brain is not real good at recollecting other people, but she stood out somehow for me.
She did, and I actually bought her book. I know, Teddy, I don't read.
I got it.
I try not to read books too often, but
I think she offered it free. I got the free book. Maybe that's why I can remember.
I paid full boat for it, but I actually have it. It's kind of cool. I have it in my luxurious cubicle at Goodwill, and I had a fellow in there the other day. Actually, he was a new hire with Goodwill, so we're shooting the breeze about Goodwill, and I had him in the cube there. And I said, because we're both word nerds, I think. And so I showed him the book, and he goes, "Oh man, this is my jam. I love this stuff." And he's reading and looking at all that. But yeah, we are judged in part certainly by, among other things, the words that we use and how we spell them, and the grammar and punctuation. And Cindy, you can relate to a lot of that, because not just the word part, but how we behave. And I've had to keep that under control over the years, especially when I'm around Cindy. Thank you, Chan. Appreciate it. And last but not least, Todd, we made it tough on you, man, because we stole all of your thunder. And
yeah, I was trying to remember the grammar lady's name, and I guess it was Sarah, but she definitely stood out. She was so passionate about it and everything.
No, the grammar goddess, Susan Rooks. And she's back on April 27th in a couple of weeks.
She, I mean, it's so basic, and she was so, like I say, passionate about it and everything else that kind of made me feel bad that my grammar's so poor. But no, she stood out for sure. And there was another individual, I think he taught John something, sales.
John Chapman.
Yeah, and we connected after the show because it was so interesting, and had a great conversation, and we're going to hook up and everything else. So, those two really stood out. Thanks.
Yeah, we're going to have her back on, Susan Rooks, back on at the end of the month. So she'll be back, and she's a hoot. Lives in in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts.
That's one of the nice things that you mentioned, Todd, about having the gentleman from Israel, I think that was on.
Wake Up Share.
And we had a lady come to us from France. There was that. We also had from Canada, we had an arbitration attorney. Remember that? Jason Stitt, was it?
Yes.
Stitt?
Yes.
Stitt, yep. So anyway, so we get around, just saying, we get around. Well, Teddy, that's round one.
All right.
So we want to turn it over to you. I'll keep an eye on the chat and see what's cooking here. But if you have questions or comments, or if you're watching and you have a special guest that you really liked, feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll try to work that in.
And the wind is vicious where I am at right now, and something just hit the side of my house. Right
A
now,
bird.
if it was a bird, it's a big one. But so I'm here until I have to go do something. But I'm hoping I don't have to do something. All right, memorable moments. Let's talk about memorable moments. Did someone say something, do something, someone poke you in some way, or some thought that really made you think? I'll tell you two thoughts that come to mind. Number one is we don't censor anybody. So if it comes out of your mouth, it goes live. Okay, it's recorded. What's the how you say that in perpetuity. So that's the first thing. Second thing is here's one statement that I heard recently that really was it was funny as heck once you heard the whole statement. And it was a sub co-host, and I won't share names, Tempe. And this woman, the sub co-host, said, when I said, "Hey, I hope you get a good night's sleep because this is going to be a lot of work," and she said, "Teddy, just be gentle. I'm a virgin." Co-host.
Whoops.
And that one. It was she played it right, and it was really a whole lot of fun. But we've heard lots of stuff, and I can't remember them all either. I can go through the recordings, but we've always strived to have humor, and we strive to let people, what I call, peel back layers and tell us stories. So share with us any memorable moments that you had or that you discovered during the show. And I'm going to follow somewhat sort of the order that Randy did, which means, Don, you're up.
Okay, thanks. The moment was, we have a lot of aha moments, but when I first tuned in, it was just out of curiosity. I mean, hey, I know Randy, I know Teddy a little bit, but after a while, I was learning stuff. And I was gotten to the point where I was taking at least 2 pages of notes after every program. So my memorable moment was when I realized that what I thought was going to be just like, literally, hey, this is cool, that I really was someone at the table, that I felt like I was part of this, even though we got people all over the country, all over the world, that as a result, it became an important part of my week. It wasn't just a casual thing. It was part of my learning. I spent about 10 hours a week in learning. What you guys have done is one of those hours, because I think about it a couple of days later. So my memorable moment was when I said, hey, this is important. This is different. I need this.
Yeah. And the whole, and I've shared this over the weeks and months, is that this is almost like having a lunch and learn, where we can kind of pick the topic and kind of help guide the conversation in to some degree anyway. And we talk about lunch and learn. A lot of them are boring. At least they gave us food, right? At least we don't even feed you, and Masura keeps showing up. So I guess we're doing okay here. But it is kind of fun because nobody wants to hear Teddy and me babble for an hour. We did that the first week.
And we knew that was a mistake.
And even we got tired of that. So we said, no, we need to bring in some guests. Unfortunately, we know some people that can really add some value. And so we've been blessed with that. But thank you, Don. Appreciate that. Teddy, back at you.
Hey, before we continue on, let me acknowledge the Elder Law Firm. Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy appreciates the help we get from the Elder Law Firm. I love their statement, who's important to you and how you plan to honor your responsibilities for them are the things that are important to the Elder Law Firm. So if you need help or conversations or insights or ideas about the right estate plan, how to protect what really matters, elder care planning, reach out to the elder law firm in Greensboro, North Carolina, 336-396-4551, or just Google the elder law firm. And remember, let them know that Randy and Teddy sent you. So let's go to the next person. The next conversation is Sindy. What was a memorable moment for you?
A fun moment was Randy and the baseball. That was early on. He's going to go get his.
Now he has to go get it.
Our budget is huge. I've got one for each hand now. So yeah, so Sindy, as you were saying.
So one of the things that I teach is, of course, our gestures make a big difference in what we have to say to emphasize what we're saying. And I was totally distracted by Randy. One of the first shows, he just kept playing with his baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does make a difference. It distracts from what we're saying. But the other thing was, there were some specific shows where the give and take of the people in the chat and the answers that the people were giving were so engaging. It's just like what Dawn said. I was taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you how many people I have followed up with and done business with from your show.
Mm-hmm.
Real cool. Real cool. So did we talk about commission? I don't remember.
Not yet.
But we
Put
should.
that on the list. Put that on the list. Teddy.
Put that on the list, buddy.
Yeah, we'll add that to the
Cindy,
list.
I'm with you. I get it. Part of these conversations, if you ever remember on the back of my wall, the statement on the back of my wall in my office, it all starts the conversation. You never know where a conversation will start. So Greg, how about you, buddy? Any memorable moments from the show?
Yeah, I think going back to your guest from Forsyth Tech, who was talking about for the North Carolina community college system, as much as community colleges across the country do, how much they're involved in education and continuing education, and that the idea of the traditional student has pretty much disappeared. And that you can find people on campus all the way from high school graduates up to those who are post-retirement, just trying to keep their skills sharp or find something for them to do. And it just stuck with me so much, because it was at the same time that it was within my family. My stepdad decided to go back and achieve his bachelor's degree at the age of 68. So if you and he did successfully complete that. So to have that out there, is that education is an ongoing process. You're never too old to go out and learn, especially when it's important to you. And it's just a powerful piece that I carry around with me.
Hey, was that Michael Glantz, by the way?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was early on.
Yeah.
Like the third or fourth or fifth. I mean, that was early on.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a trivia question for you. Who has been a guest the most? That's a trivia question that we'll let you mull over. And Teddy, I'll throw it back to you, and I'll try to remember what the answer is.
Can I play the trivia? And is there a prize?
No.
I thought so.
No and no.
No. All right, Jeff, how about yourself? Where's Jeff?
The answer is 4, by the way. Somebody's been on 4 times. So 4 is the most, and we'll share that in just a little bit.
Jeff, any memorable moments for you so far?
Yes, sir. And actually, I would say it's a series of moments for me. So one thing that I heard, really, I think it's Randy said this more than any other. He said a number of times, talking about looking at that that next level position up and all, and really kind of putting the thought into that of, is that really the right thing for me? I know I heard that numerous times through the shows that I've attended, and it stuck with me because I think that's probably just where I was at the time, and probably really to some degree still am, kind of processing that. I kind of put myself in that. I sense with myself, there's that cartoon character, that has 2 different versions of himself, one on each shoulder. One's wearing the white robe and has a halo, the other has red skin and horns. And so that was me. One of them was saying to me, yeah, you want that, you want that. The other was saying, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. Are you sure you really want that? And so for many months, probably, maybe even to some degree still, trying to figure out, okay, which one of those has the halo and which one has the horns? Because I'm still, in some ways, trying to figure out, is that what I want for me? So I think that's what has, from a moment perspective or series of moments, and possibly even greatest value from attending the show, is kind of helping me process through that to understand, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up?
You
Hey,
and me both.
just folks, if you're watching and you have a comment, maybe a favorite show, a favorite guest, what have you, feel free to put it in there. We'll try to work that in. So yeah, Teddy, back at you.
All right. So Chan, how about yourself? Any memorable moments in the past 2 years?
My memory is so poor now that I don't have any memorable moments. It's just not there. Sorry.
All good. All good.
I've enjoyed all of them. That's just that I just don't remember. The main thing that I've gotten from attending these things is getting acquainted with different people and then going and following them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. I mean, not that I really, at my age, I don't need a LinkedIn account. I'm not going to be applying for a new job anytime. But it's been interesting to be able to make acquaintances with all these different people.
Absolutely.
Good, good. Todd, what about you? Any memorable moments?
Well, I would say there were so many, the golden nuggets you can pull out, but there's something that kind of runs through a lot of the episodes or pops up that I really enjoy. And that is Teddy's collection of old business stuff. I mean, the Rolodex, typewriter. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, that'd be a good trivia question. How many, I know you're in a different location, but how many items does Teddy really have that are like not relevant anymore? No, I enjoy those whenever he pops them up. It brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, that brought me, I came asked the question a couple days ago to some of my family members. I said, do you remember the last time you used a landline? And because none of my kids have cell phones.
Somebody said, what's a landline?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can remember for me the last time I used a landline, it was December 15th, 2010. It was the last time I used one, when I left the cubicle in my office and started my own business. So yeah, Todd, thanks. By the way, I got a redesign coming, dude. So be prepared. So
Okay.
All right,
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Brandy,
So-
take the next one, buddy.
Yeah. So all right. So any ideas on the trivia question? 4 times is the most
So far.
4 times in 2 years. Any ideas? Going once, twice.
Teddy and Randy
Cindy
now.
is not the answer, but that was a good guess. Not the correct one.
Landline.
Cindy, you've been on at least twice, and at least twice, 3 times. Ooh. Okay, close. No, the answer is Mike Fenley. Mike is a field representative for Senator Richard Burr here in North Carolina. He and Lisa Lamb with NC Works, the Department of Commerce, they both appeared within a few weeks of our show starting. Again, this whole thing started when COVID shut everything down. So they were on to talk about, I forget what it was called, but remember it was like Plan 1, Plan 2, Plan A, or Plan B, whatever. What's the government going to do to kind of stop flatten the curve? But then they were back on a couple more times. And then he was also on by himself a few weeks ago talking about scams. I found that really interesting, by the way. And especially the QR code scam remember he talked about at restaurants where bad people will come in and put their own QR code and that label on they'll just put it on top of and cover the real QR code. So when you scan it with your phone, you're scanning a scammer's QR code, and now you want to see the menu of the restaurant. You tap on what you think's the menu, and next thing you know, bad things happen. But yeah, Mike was on 4 times. All right, so another trivia thing here because I'm a trivial guy. How many little knickknacks does Teddy have? I remember he's got the rotary phone. He's got a typewriter. He's got the little snow cone, the snowball, right? The crystal ball.
Dude, don't be disrespecting the what's it called? I can't remember.
The crystal ball. He's got the crystal ball.
Man.
Got the flip phone. He's got the big jar of business cards. Got the Rolodex.
I got a landline.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the rotary. Yeah, you got all that going for you.
I got my the hatchet guy mask. Can't remember what's the guy's name? The horror movie guy.
The slasher movie. I don't know, Jason, whatever. But
Jason mask. Yeah.
I didn't know that. You haven't broken that one. I know you've got special sound effects now that you're going to break out in the new year. So we got sound effects coming your way. Flip phone. That is old tech as landline. You got that right. Is that Chan saying
that thing up, Dean? I can call you, buddy.
No, that's Dean. I'm sorry. There's Dean.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
Floppy disk up there at one time. The
5 1/4.
yep.
Yeah, I got my resume on there in case somebody wants my resume.
Well,
Wow.
can
All
I
right.
toss,
So yeah. What you
one
got?
is not like a separate one, but I'd like to know how many times you've turned around to your back to your bookcase and pulled out your Dale Carnegie book.
Or my there's a couple books I pull out. I pull out April Kelly's book. I pull up my Design Your Life book. I do that all the time in my coaching. I mean, the books on that bookshelf are only a small percentage of the books that I have, but those are the ones that changed my life. So they're at quick access for me to help others. Yeah.
Hey, look, we've got about another 15, 18 minutes, and we've got 3 questions. This next one that I'll ask is probably a short question, and it kind of overlaps, I think, with what we've already talked about. The question is, what types of topics did we cover everybody, by the way? Was there anything that on that last one?
Everybody.
Did we get everybody?
I think so. I'm
Okay.
The producer told me, yeah, we're good. They said we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what types of topics were of most interest to you? And I'm going to morph that a little bit because I think we've hit that already. I mean, we've talked about who our favorite guests are and some of the memorable moments and some of the takeaways. So let me put this into different buckets. We started the show with it all being about job hunt stuff because everybody was out of a job when COVID hit. So we had a resume writer, we had recruiters on here, we had that kind of stuff, interview skills. And then it began to morph a bit because you can only talk about resumes so many times. And even I lose interest, right? So you don't want to do that. And we've morphed the show a little bit to include business, whether it's Mark Owens with Greater Winston, or it's dealing with professional development. We've had Malcolm McDougall on with the Clifton Strengths. We've had other Noel DeBona talking about the assessments that he provides. And so I guess my thought here is, if you could wave a wand, so to speak, and you start to look at topics where certain topic genres maybe of greater value, more interest to you as you look. In other words, you see the guest, nobody knows who the guest is necessarily. It's not the guest, it's the topic really that would draw somebody typically, unless you're a personal friend of the guest. But when you see the topic, you go, hey, you know what? That's the kind of stuff I really want to see. Is there anything? Do you have any preferences on that kind of stuff? Yeah, Cindy.
I like topics that go spread across all the genres because then it does attract more people to come. And
right.
Here's an example. We know we can't get some guests like Adam Grant, but I would love someone to talk about his book like Give and Take that teaches people, don't be a too much of a giver, don't be too much of a taker, be that happy medium. And the book itself is about strategic giving. And I would love to have that topic discussed because it's something that everyone deals with. And there's other books out there that I'd love to have somebody's take on that is maybe a master in that area.
It's like having read the book, then have a discussion about takeaways from it.
Yeah. I think it would bring up good discussion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, somebody else had their hand up. Was it Don? Yeah, Don.
Yeah. One of the things that I wrote down and thought about, I stayed up late, Randy, is
you missed out.
Yeah. What's new? What's new in the tax code for people working at home? What's new in job styles? What's new in, let's say, instead of having to work at home, is there something else that's evolving where you don't have to work on a little thing next to your bed? People are doing things. I'd like to see what's new. Pick the topic. What's new in just about anything that has to do with it going on right now, whether it's what new in computing, not computer, but commuting. I'd like to know what's new.
Yeah, the futuristic kind of stuff. And there are people that they make a living about that. I've asked, what are the lottery numbers coming up? And they never respond to me. So I don't know.
When I ordered my crystal ball, Randy, they told me I could not use it for that purpose.
Only if you use it for good. Right. And I see your hand is up. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that occurred to me while you were talking earlier was you had a young lady on at one point. I can't remember her name, but the subject was application tracking systems and how your resume gets looked at electronically and things to do and things not to do, that sort of thing. That was an interesting topic, even though I can't remember her name.
That was
she moved to California. She'd been on the East Coast in Wilmington and moved, and yep, blonde.
Was that wasn't I'll tell you in a minute. I'm embarrassed. I can't remember.
Yep, I am too, because I name's on the tip of my tongue. I see her stuff on Facebook. Yeah.
It's that kind of thing that people needed help with. And also people also need to be told not to use Indeed, not waste their time on things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a reality check.
Was that Emily Lawson?
Yep. That's who it was. Yep. She's moved to California now. So what else? Jeff, did you have your hand up? Yeah.
Yeah. So I know one that stood out for me, and I've tried to put into practice here. So certainly the folks can on the chat can critique me as they if they wish. Was the video presence topics, and how to make a good presence when you're in a video meeting. How to remove distractions. How to paying attention to your background, your lighting, and things like that. As I've been working in the last couple of years now, I'm doing a lot of video meetings. I'm finding I get distracted a lot by, I see, that's, this wasn't right or that wasn't right. And I find myself mentally critiquing others, not sharing it with them, of course. So a lot of us can use that. I can probably still use it. I mean, I at least took the pile of hockey sticks out of the corner behind me here. But I'm sure there's other stuff that I could be critiqued on. But I think in general, a lot of us can still use that.
And now, that was a big deal when COVID hit and everybody had to hop on Zoom. And I know, Sindy, you did a show on how to behave online. Yeah. And that was so timely because we were so new to this for the most part. We were pretty new to it. And even still, and we're 2 years in. I mean, I don't want to name names, but anyway, it's just, it's a learning process for all of us. Hey, I know this Greg Jones, you may have to bail before the top of the hour. So if there's anything you wanted to share at all, inspiration for others or just anything at all, I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to share any thoughts before you had to take off.
No, I appreciate that. I think a lot of what I'm hearing and what I've seen throughout the weeks of tuning in is just trying to keep that broad range of topics going. So it's something interesting. Like you said, you guys tried to do resumes once or twice, and you were beating the dead horse. And so
Yeah.
branching that out, I think bringing on the government officials is really good to see what the government's trying to do, especially as you mentioned, the type of QR codes. What are the ATSs up to? So it's really good to have that variety.
Yeah, we it keeps us kind of busy trying to figure out who do we have coming up and all that. And Teddy, you're the engineer for all of this stuff. Now you live on social media and live on Zoom, so for you it's just another part of the day. And technically, I'm talking about how to technically, but I look ahead here. Golly, we're booked up. Is my wall calendar, by the way,
Yeah,
for those
I don't use a wall calendar.
Yeah, we are booked up through and including July 13th. Lita Citroen is going to come back on. Sindy, you may remember her. Her thing is kind of like your thing in a way, meaning she does a lot about your presence, your professional presence, and creating that persona, if you will. And so she was on a year or two ago. She'll be back on, but that's we're booked up through there. Hey, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes. Any other thoughts on the topic? Todd, looks like you may
let me
want to
just
say.
make a real quick statement that anything that adds improvement, if it's business oriented, career oriented, all of that, if there's any kind of takeaways, is great. But I want to make the statement that you two guys and maybe Teddy more than Randy, I think whoever gets the guests and keeps that calendar filled, that is not an easy job.
No.
And you guys do a great job. So kudos to both of you.
Well, it's both of us because
Yeah.
we're both accountable to that task. But
I think you screen them and everything else. Yeah, exactly.
The only way that works is when two things happen. Somebody says you should bring Adam Grant on the show. And we're like, okay, we'll make that happen the moment you introduce us to Adam Grant. That's how it happens for Randy and I every time. Someone says, you should bring this person. We say, great, introduce us to that person. We'll have a conversation. And I'll tell you, Randy knows this as well as I do. More often than not, when someone says, you should bring this person, and they introduce us to that person, it's a done deal. They'll join us.
And Susan Rooks is a great example, a grammar goddess. She'll be on at the end of this month. When she was on, she said, "Ooh, this was really cool stuff." She said, "I know people." And as a result, Melissa Hughes came on. Names escape me off the top of my head, but the LinkedIn guru from Ohio was Jeff.
Young.
Yeah, Jeff Young, and also another one or two came as a result of that. And by the way, just so you know, a little trade secret here, I'll talk quietly so nobody else hears it. Whoever is the interviewer was the one who secured the host. So if Teddy is the interviewer, that means it's his guest. He was the one with the relationship, or he's the one that made the ask. And so that's a way to guide it. I'm an old radio guy, so for me, this is a lot of fun. Teddy, I know for you, it's been a fun ride, and we're still riding it, but it was also a little challenging because it's not something that you are maybe as comfortable with or weren't when we started.
Well, yeah, I'd never run a show before. I mean, so yeah, now I'm old hat at it.
You have an old hat on. You even are wearing an old hat.
Too, yeah. So,
yeah.
But it is a lot of work. And Randy used this phrase 2 years ago, used it a year ago, and I would wager he, as I do today, will use this phrase, and that is, it's a labor of love. I mean, really, it is an absolute blast to do this for us to pull it together. So, Randy, let me take the last one. It's the last one.
Yeah, make it real quick, and then we'll have a quick story about how the show started, and then we got to promote our next week's show.
So real quick, anybody have a 5-word statement of inspiration or advice that you want to share with our audience? Any statement of inspiration that you either got from us or we made you think of that you want to share with the audience?
The clock is ticking.
Apparently, Randy, we're not very inspirational. Dan?
Jan's got one. Yeah.
This is a Jeff Claypool one. Never stop looking.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the secrets of creativity, it's one thing to do things right. It's another to do the right thing. And you have to decide which one's more important.
Hmm. I always, a lot of times will say life's a journey and we learn as we go. And John Michael Montgomery, for country music fans, life's a dance. You learn as you go. But the point is that as we learn more, I think it was a mutual friend of ours had said, hey, look, as I know more, as I know more, I do better, or something like that. So we try to inform folks. Cindy, you were going to say something. I think your hand was up.
In chat, there's a think of gratitude.
Oh, Dean.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Which I think that's good. But I also, you mentioned a line from a song, and there's a line from a song, and forgive me because I don't remember who it was. It was, if your heart sings, you're doing the right thing.
Aha.
Oh, wait a minute. That sounds like a mamas and the papas thing.
It might be, Teddy. It might be.
Yeah, let me get the producers on it.
Yeah. Anybody else? While he's looking that up, we've got a couple minutes left. Any thoughts?
I put one on my wall this morning, and if
Yeah.
you're going in to do something or trying to venture forward, burn all your boats. Don't give yourself a way back. Just forward and be successful.
Burn the boats. Ooh.
Never heard that one before.
I can't swim either, so I'm really
There you go.
committed to the
After
to
you
the
burn,
mission.
no way back.
Oh,
Got
that
it.
might be William McDowell, Cindy.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Could be.
cool.
So, hey, Teddy, I'm going to share a little about how the show got started. And, we shared this for the folks that are on the call, probably have heard this, but for the folks that maybe might be tuning in later, watching their, the rerun of it or whatever. COVID stopped everything back in, they sent us home from Goodwill in late March of 2020. And so here I am in the, east wing of the, executive mansion here, the man cave. There you go, Teddy. You've got quality control over you now. So it's good that somebody keeps an eye on you.
So we
All
want
right. So here's the deal. So we got sent home, and so I called Teddy. We got sent home late in March, and I called him and I said, hey, I'm stuck here. So are you? You want to do a show? Because we both like to shoot the breeze, whatever, and we both know a little bit about job hunt stuff. And Teddy's a good friend. I've known him forever, and so he said, sure. And so anyway, that's how it got started. That's literally got started because we got sent home. Your business dried up. Cindy, yours dried up. Everybody who does anything in front of people dried up. Todd, yours probably dried up a fair amount too. You're, as a recruiter, I mean, there were really no jobs to speak of. And so it was really focused on exclusively job hunting a lot. And then it began to morph again, as we shared, but that's how it got started. And we've done a live show every time, but twice. We had to record 2 shows because the guest had a conflict at the end. So we ended up, but we've never had it where the guest doesn't show and Teddy and I have to tap dance for an hour. So we've been very blessed to have had commitment from our guest. And frankly, the quality of the guests been really, really cool. And you guys have illustrated that with some of the memories you've had. It's really been fun. It's fun. Let's do another year, 2, 3, see how long we can still keep chugging along. Teddy, take us home. Let us know who's coming up and also your thoughts.
Cool. Hey, my thoughts. I want to keep doing this for as long as I can. Randy and I have aspirations of taking this show to another level. And another level doesn't mean, turn into a big money maker. That's not the goal. Another level is to get enough sponsorship so that we can clean up our graphics, clean up our act, get a real producer instead of Teddy banging on 3 keyboards. Get a show, someone to help us promote the show. We really do see that this is really important for a lot of people. We're adjusting the conversations more along the ways of what you just talked about, a broader conversations.
Mhm.
So, you know, we're working to get that kind of help to take us to another level. And I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I can, because I really do enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
We've got some things coming up that Randy and I are going to test some ideas. So be prepared for that. That might kind of freak you out when we do it, but it's coming. But again, I'm going to keep doing it. Next week, I met this lady named Karen Tischler. Karen has a business. It's called Emily's Path Consulting. But she also has a podcast. One of her focuses on a really cool job style. It's called job sharing. So show up next week, 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday with Randy and I as we kick off our third year, start into our third year with Karen Tischler, and the conversation's all about job sharing. It's going to be pretty interesting. So Randy, buddy, I really enjoy the stuff,
Yeah.
man. Love working with you. Let's keep doing it. Todd, Cindy, Don, Jeff, Chan, thanks for joining us. And thanks again to all of our fabulous audience for hanging out with us for 2 years
Yep.
and moving into 3. See you all
All right.
later.
Have a great
Thanks.
day. Thank you now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.